Welcome to Allie with Allie podcast, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. Today, I am going to share with you 3 things that I'm doing that are working, 3 things that I'm doing that are not working, and 3 things that are to be determined. Get excited. I'm excited about this one. I've never done this format before, and I was looking through lists of podcast ideas and questions that some of you have sent in the past because to be honest, up until 15 minutes ago, I had no clue what I was going to talk about today. And this just kind of came to me. So I'm pumped because this is going to give you some insights into maybe some ideas for your own business and a little peek behind the scenes over here too. So let's go ahead and get started. 3 things that I'm doing that are working currently. Now, if I'm being brutally honest, the past couple days, if you had asked me this question, I would say nothing's working. It's just been, I've shared before, like the dark side of, if you listen to the dark side of entrepreneurship, which was a couple of episodes ago, I've just been sharing that I feel like I'm coming out of this winter season. That's what it feels like. It feels like I just experienced, just like, we've all experienced, depending on where you are in the world, like the actual winter. It just felt very winter-like metaphorically in my world. And I'm coming out of it, but I'm still feeling the residual funk in that. And it does seem to be getting better, but you know how whenever it's finally spring, there's still like random cold days and it's like, what the hell? I thought we were over this. It feels like that. So today, I'm so thankful that I decided to record today and I didn't set time aside on Monday. Like I'm recording this on a Wednesday. If I recorded this on a Monday, number one, I don't think I would have done it because I was I was in the worst mood on Monday. It felt so PMSy. It just felt so, ugh. But today I feel like I'm remembering who I am. That's what it feels like. And that's the best feeling, isn't it? And it's just a reminder that we're human, our energy, our moods, especially as women. We have to remember that we are hormonal, emotional creatures over here, and that is by design, and that is a strength, not a weakness. And we just got to roll with it, right? We got to roll with it. And it's really something to surrender to and embrace, but that is so much easier said than done, isn't it? So anyway, I'm having a good day. I'm feeling really good. And let's talk about what's working now that I can look at my life through the lens of optimism versus pessimism. All right. So one of the things that's absolutely working, and this has always been a goal of mine, but I'm taking it so much more seriously now because I'm really starting to understand the beauty and the power of this specific thing. And the number one thing that is absolutely working for me right now is having more fun. Shocker. Crazy, right? Like the audacity of being a business owner and wanting to have fun. There's some people where this comes so naturally to them. And if that is you, God bless you. I am so jealous. I have always been somebody that probably takes things a little too seriously. Life, relationships, I'm just, and we could probably do a deep dive into my childhood and talk about how I was, had to grow up faster than most and blah, 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 and I wasn't able to stay a kid as long, we have our things, but that's me, and I've never been one to really require much fun. I get a ton of passion and fun and joy out of my work. And that is such a gift. And I do not take that for granted, and I don't take that lightly, because truly, I'm a manifesting generator. So I'm built to work. And on top of that, what I do, I have my own business, and I get to truly do the things and talk about the things that I actually want to do and talk about. It's so incredible. And I'm so thankful. But where I go wrong, quote wrong, where I think I can be better anyway, is making space for real fun, for fun that's not work, making memories with our kids and making memories and time for Chris and our relationship. Because he's also a Manny Gen, and we both get a ton out of our work. So in this season of life, especially, we have little kids. Rhett is just 6 months old, close to be 7 months old. And, I'm growing a business. Chris just got promoted and has this new, level of work and expectations in his job. We're in that season where it's really easy just to kind of have your head down and just like get through the day. And that, I have found time and time again, is the fastest path to burnout, right? When you're not making space, just space, no matter what you fill it with, but just space to do nothing. And, we're going to tack on like the added goal of like actual fun here. You're going to burn out. Like and if you don't experience burnout, you're going to see life through a way that I don't think we're meant to see it. I truly believe that God, source, wants us to be happy and wants us to have fun and enjoy life. And you'll notice that people who have some of the most insane stories and most insane results, they're the ones who just were like, F around and find out type people, just like, I'm just going to have fun with this. I'm going to do the thing that I actually want to do. They burn it all to the ground. Not saying that we have to do that, but, they finally say, enough's enough. They have some sort of F it moment, and they just start having a good time with life, with what they do. And then they start, experiencing like a level of results that is just next level. You hear stories like this all the time. And it's funny because I can't tell you how many years. I mean, I know definitely 2021. Was it 2020? No, 2022. My word for the year was joy. And I can't tell you how many times I've done something similar to that, because I've known, like, in my soul, I know that this is something missing from my life. That lightness, that fun. So anyway, we're finally like, Chris and I were having more conversations about this, and we're finally like, okay, these are the days, right? Like, these are the days. And I think everybody listening to this would probably agree on some level. These are the days that we're going to look back on and be like, what a time. Like, yes, it was crazy. Yes, it was hard. Yes, it was scary and uncertain. And all of that's still true. But man, when our kids, they're, no matter what age they are, no matter what season you're in, you're going to look back on this and feel a certain way. And in the season that we're in right now, when our boys, they're so little, they're so sweet, they're so fun. Chris and I are, in our prime when it comes to business and our relationship. And we're really, without trying, we're having a pretty good time. But it's like, why, what are we doing here? Like, we could do so much more. And it's easy, I think, when kids are young, to be like, okay, let's just, when they get a little bit older, right? There's always that excuse. There's always going to be an excuse to wait to do the thing that you want to do. And Chris and I are finally just getting to the point where we're like, no, we need to do it now. So an example of this, like, okay, so what's an example? One example, and it's so simple, but both of our nannies, Rhett and Cruz's nanny, are out this, the end of the week, Thursday and Friday, both of them, just randomly. And we're like, okay, we're going to have to watch the boys anyway. Right? Like work is going to look weird anyway. Why not go on a trip? Like, let's go do something. Now, we're not trying to fly anywhere right now. We're not trying to go anywhere too far, because that with a baby is like what I consider hell. So, but with Airbnbs and, we live in Tennessee, there's so many options. So we got on Airbnb and we found the cutest modern cottage on this mountain. It's called Mont Eagle here in Tennessee. It's between Nashville and Chattanooga off of Interstate 24. And it's the cutest area. And it's kind of like this up and coming area. I feel like so many people are starting to build houses there. And we just searched the area and found the most perfect little place. And it has this, outdoor area. It has this stunning porch that overlooks, it has mountain views, and it frames perfectly the sunset. So we're going to have that, and it has this really cute seating area on the porch. And then off to the side of the house, it has more another seating area with a fire pit that we're going to do s'mores. And then the house itself is immaculate. It's it's called modern, so it's more modern and really beautiful. I'm going to share it in my stories, but by the time you hear this, it'll be in the past. But we're why not? Why not just get away? It doesn't have to be out of state. It doesn't have to be, this is an hour and a half from where we live, but it's going to feel different. It's getting ourselves out of the house. I think that's something that's so draining. We love our house. It's a great house, but being here all the time and rarely going anywhere, with the exception of maybe to dinner or whatever, it's just draining. So that's just one example of okay, screw it. Let's go. Let's just get out of here. Let's go do something. And just having that to look forward to. We booked it 2 weeks ago, and it's just felt so much lighter. It's given us something that we're looking forward to, that we're excited about. So what we've decided to do is, while we're at the house, we're going to book another trip. So before we even leave, this is going to be our thing, because last year we traveled, we did a lot more than we usually do. And again, it was just having that thing to look forward to. This is kind of new to us. Some of you might be listening and be like, Allie, duh. This is kind of life 101, but this is new for us. So maybe you're like me and you're just learning how to, I don't know, you're figuring out life's cheat codes along with me. But we're okay, it feels, life is just more interesting when you have a trip or something to look forward to. So before we leave this house, we're going to have something else booked within, a month or so. And that feels fun. My next thing that's on my to-do list is to find a hobby. Your girl needs a hobby. I've talked about this before. It's so boring now, but I don't have hobbies. Chris does. He golfs. I feel like sports is totally a hobby, because it's always something that they're obsessing over. They, meaning most men. I know not all, but most. What else? He runs. He's just always, he's up to something all the time. He's got his men's small group. He leads a small group with the church, and he's got his things. I don't have things like that. My things is work, and I get my nails done every once in a while, and I love a massage, and I love a spa day, and that's cool too. But, and I also work out, but I think I need a hobby, but I don't know what that is. So I'm trying to be open-minded. So anybody who is newly discovered a fun hobby for yourself that has totally caught you by surprise in the best way, let me know. DM me. What are y'all's hobbies? Let's talk about it. What can we do? I don't want to play pickleball, so don't send me that. But I don't know. I'd be open to it. I really would be open to it. I'd be open to anything. I need something. So anyway, that's working for me. Another thing that has been working for me is speaking my truth and being okay with others doing the same. What does that mean? That means standing for something. As somebody with an online presence, it's felt really good to stand for something. In the past, and I realize every business is different, every brand is different, and this isn't appropriate for every business and brand, so use your discretion here. But part of my business is a personal brand as well. It's, you work with me because of me. You buy my programs because of me, in most cases. And in the past, I've shied away from really saying too much. I mean, I would say like little things here and there, but I've lived in fear for a really long time of pissing people off and that like hurting my business, like, oh gosh, what if, I know so-and-so is, she thinks this way, she believes this thing. So if I share anything that opposes that, maybe she won't want to work with me again, like that kind of very, very limited, constrictive feelings and way of thinking. And this isn't new. I mean, I've been doing this for a while now, but lately I feel like things are so divisive and just so many people are fighting with each other. And I'm kind of like leaning back and witnessing this. And what's so interesting to me, and another thing that I've been doing, is I really like to follow people with what I would consider different perspectives than my own. Okay. So I don't belong to like, let's say like a political side or label. I agree with things on all sides. I disagree with things on all sides. So to say that I am, let's use example, left or right, it doesn't feel right for me. And I see people that like blindly, if it seems like blindly, argue and fight and feel so strongly about a title just because that's what they've always been. Like they have their so much identity and what seems like ego wrapped up in just a title. And that it's so fascinating to me. And it's like, okay, that's fine. And believe what you want. And that's something that has been working for me. It's just like witnessing this and being like, and really being so curious about it. It's fascinating to me. And for example, I'm not going to share the podcast because I just don't want to open that can of worms. But I've subscribed to a podcast of somebody who has views that I've a lot of views that I feel like are, kind of opposite of how I feel. I disagree with a lot of this person is saying, but also I like the person. I'm like, okay, I like this person. We have different views, but I think this person's brilliant and really smart. And I'm really, impressed with how this person carries themselves and how bold they are and how strongly they believe in what they believe. I think that's a beautiful thing, no matter what that is. So I followed this person's podcast and I was listening to some of the information. I was like, whoa. And some of the points that were being made were super interesting. And other ones I was actually kind of mortified by. And that's why I don't want to share. But where am I going with this? I think just, like being okay with sharing my heart on a matter, my opinion, and not being scared about how other people are going to feel. And also like seeing other people's perspectives and not feeling like I need to feel anything about it. Because at the end of the day, guys, I know this is kind of crazy information that I'm about to drop on you, but nobody knows what the right or wrong answer is. You realize that, right? Like nobody knows what's quote right or wrong, if there is even a right or wrong. So for us to fight so hard for a stance, and I'm not saying this applies to everything, is kind of it's so interesting to me. So anyway, I don't want to go deeper into this because I'm not trying to get political or anything. And yeah, but my point is like the more that I've been able just to like share the things that I want to share, and it's felt very liberating. It feels like a weight is being lifted off of me. And it's also kind of connected me to more people. When you stand for something, but I just want to be clear. If you've ever seen me share anything that you disagree with, I would hope that it's not like this quick unfollow situation, right? Where you're like, oh, well, I can't work with her anymore. I can't listen. I don't even care if you want to work with me. But like this notion that we can't be around people or follow people or love people whose beliefs aren't perfectly aligned with our own is terrifying. I mean, just sit in that for a minute. You can't be around other people that think differently than you, that believe differently than you. That's like the whole world. We're just in America. And you're in a region of America. It's very dangerous to fall into that trap. And I get it. Like sometimes it feels like you're alone on this boat with very few people and everybody around you is going crazy. But like everybody has their own truth and their own perspective and their own life that's led them up to their beliefs. And as hard as you believe in something, there are other people that the opposite is their absolute truth too. So I don't know. I think just like softening my own heart to that and just reminding myself of that and reminding myself that like we're all a little afraid right now. We're all a little confused. Nobody knows what's right or wrong. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows who to trust right now. I mean, it is a crazy, crazy time. So let's all give each other a break and let's not be quick to dislike or, God forbid, hate somebody else because they think differently than you. I think that's one of the most dangerous, sad things we can fall into. Okay, moving on. Another thing that's working for me. This is so stupid. I don't even know how I'm going to explain this, but I feel like somebody's going to be like, yes, I get it. Allowing myself to be as ridiculous and unreasonable as possible. This is a battle that I have with myself. Yo, I am ridiculous. Okay. I am so ridiculous. I am so, what's the word? Where you have an opinion on how things need to go for yourself. You're very particular. The word is particular. I'm very particular when it comes to how I want my day to go, how I want to be, what I want to do. Sometimes I feel like I am so ridiculous because you know what it is? Chris, my husband, he's so chill. He is so laid back. He's so go with the flow. He's such a team player. I am not that way. I am not. I'm just not. And sometimes I witness him in that contrast of us and it makes me feel guilty. And it's like, okay, maybe I should be more chill. Maybe I should be more go with the flow, which the go with the flow part is probably fair. I think we all could be better at surrendering to life and not assuming that we know, again, all of the answers and how life needs to go for us. But there are just some things that I like how I like and I want how I want. And when I trust this and when I indulge in myself, I am the best version of me. Let me give you an example. And I'm terrified to give you this example because it sounds so trivial. It sounds so superficial. And by the way, it sounds like that because it absolutely is. But this is just the fastest example I can come up with. If I think of something more deep and profound later on, I'll give it to you, but maybe it's not even there. Let me give you an example. My nails. Okay. Oh my God. What am I doing right now? I'm speaking my truth. What I'm doing is I'm speaking my truth. My nails. I like my nails a certain way. Okay. And when they're wrong, I'm wrong. When my nails are wrong, I'm wrong. I don't feel like myself. What does that mean about me? That probably means that I've got a lot of freaking inner work to do. Okay. The fact that like I cannot be who I am without my nails a certain way. And I can. Okay. This is tongue in cheek ish. Not really. You can decide whether I'm being very serious or not. But like, let me give you an example of the nail situation. I had my nails great and they needed to be filled in, and I had them a certain way and I really liked how they were. And I have a nail guy. He is so great. He knows what he's doing. And I was going to get my nails done and I had exactly what I wanted. And I'm very particular. And he gets it. He gets me, which is why he's my nail guy. But he said, we don't need to put tips on them. They're going to be, they're long enough. And I was like, I don't think they're long enough. And he said, no, they are. I promise you. Do you trust me? And I said, well, I can't argue that. Yes, you're great at what you do. I trust you. Fine. They're too short. Okay. I'm used to them being longer. They're too short. And it's bothering me. It's bothering me. And I'm moving on. I don't have time to get them redone this week. But let me tell you something. If I had the time, I would have been back the very next day and had them start from scratch. What this means about me, I don't know, but it's just who I am. And here's my point in this. Okay. That's a stupid example. Please forgive me. Please don't unsubscribe. But it's just, does anybody understand and feel me here? But I've just noticed that when I allow myself to be as ridiculous as I am, and as free and just absolutely ridiculous is the word, I'm just a better version of me. I create more stuff. I feel more creative. Another example is like going through my long, ridiculous morning routine. And that's actually one of the things that's not working for me that we're going to get to is like not doing this, because I kind of stopped because it was like, okay, we need to sit down. We need to get things done. Right. And I wouldn't like take the time to when I feel my best is when I'm wearing an outfit that just feels like the vibe of the day. I'm in my element, and it takes some time sometimes to get there. And there are times where I'm like, that you are just being so unreasonable right now. You just need to get ready and get into it and get the things done. And I just don't feel like myself. I don't know how to explain it any other different way than that. But I've just noticed, I've done it enough, and I've noticed that when I appease myself, and I let myself just do me. And that's going to look different for everybody. But when I let myself do me, things work. I make more. When I do me, I make money. I don't know. I could come up with a fun thing, but that's what it seems like. I think we probably, if we were to get scientific with it, it has to do with magnetism. It has to do with like you getting on a certain frequency. And by me appeasing myself and allowing myself to indulge in the things that I need to do, it's allowing myself to elevate to a frequency that just turns me on, right? It turns on my magnetism. And I know when I do that, it's undeniable. You cannot deny it. It's there. And the people that are meant to be in my world, it's like, that's when they can finally see me. That's when I end up in their stories. That's when I end up in their, in their earbuds. There is something to this. Your frequency, your energy is everything. So maybe that's what it is by allowing myself to be as ridiculous and unreasonable. That's just allowing me to do me, which elevates me to an energy that makes me more magnetic to the people who are meant to vibe with this. I don't know. But I put that on there and it just makes me laugh. So man, I hope that landed somehow. Otherwise, shoo, crash and burn. Okay. We're moving on. Let's talk about the things that aren't working. All right. Things that are not working. Not having some sort of morning routine. This is not working for me. This has not been working for me. And it kind of, I don't know, it's just been the season because I've had to choose between, or at least I felt like I had to choose between either sleep or a morning routine. Because in the past, I would get a full night's sleep, a full 2-3 REM cycles back before I had a newborn. So I could wake up at the butt crack of dawn and do, a full hour, 2-hour indulgent ass morning routine. And I did it. And it was amazing. And when I reflect back on last year, which if you've heard me talk about last year was best year in business yet, the peak of that, when I was most on my game and performing at the highest level, I had the most indulgent, intentional morning routine where I got up and at the time it was warm. So Chris and I would get on the porch, the back porch every single day as the sun's coming up. I would get my beautiful canister of water. And I would bless my water. And then I would pray and get in like a meditative state and do my whole calling in wisdom and opening up portals of joy and bliss. And then I would journal and do my gratitude and get out, anything that I need to get out and really call in the type of day that I wanted. And then I would work out and, it was so involved, but damn it, did it work? And I'm looking at my business now. Well, let me say this. I'm looking at my business now and I'm looking at my business then. Very big difference. There's been a lot of factors and it's hard to say, okay, it's this specific thing that's missing, so it must be this thing. There's a lot of things that are different now versus then. And business will ebb and flow all the time, no matter what your morning routine is, probably. Maybe, I don't know, maybe not. We'll see, because I'm about to start doing it again. But I mean, that's one of the things that's different is when I had Rhett, I stopped doing this routine because I'm tired and because I need to sleep. And then by the time we get up, we got to get moving, right? So what I'm working on is my perception of time. That's something that I'm always working on. I've really always been somebody who has a scarcity around time. I often feel like I'm running out or I'm rushing around or, it's just years of conditioning where literally that was life. I was constantly rushing everywhere. To school, to bartend, to whatever, always rushing, always running out of time. So I'm undoing a lot of that. And I did my routine this morning and listen to me. I mean, go listen to the past couple episodes and it's just, it really makes a difference. Now, I want to be clear that it doesn't have to be a morning routine and it's not about the things that you do. So some of you might be like, oh, I need to know every single thing that you're doing in this routine. That's not the point. It's what works for you. And as a Manny Jen, I'm actually happiest when I'm switching things up. So I'll do this routine for a bit, but then it's okay, now it's time to do. So I might do it in a different part of the day or something. So all a routine or morning routine or anything like this that feels good to you, all it's doing is activating you. That's all it is. And anything can activate you. So there are mornings I don't quote need one because I wake up and like, best way to say is you just woke up on the right side of the bed and you woke up activated somehow and you're good to go, and what it means to be activated is just to be at that energy, at that frequency of your highest level, of the version of you who believes in herself, that remembers who she is, that is in alignment with the thinking and the acting and the doing of the things that you actually want to create and not anything that you don't want to create. That's what it means to be activated. And that's what these routines are here to do, are just to like bring you back to who you really are. Like doing the gratitude, getting into those feelings. It sets you on this right track for the day. So not having this has been something that I have missed dearly in my life. And finally, I'm getting to the point. Brett we're working on the sleeping. He's sleeping with me. I've just totally surrendered. And I put this kid, he starts his bedtime in his bed. And then middle of the night, I just don't have it in me anymore to do multiple feedings in the middle of the night. I just bring him in bed with me. So I know I'm creating a monster, but it's getting me some sleep. So you got to do what you got to do, and that's what we do. And I'm trying to get back into this, but I know not having some sort of something to activate me, to get me back into that flow, into the energy that's already there. It's just, we have a lot of conflicting energies in us sometimes. So it's time to make a change there. And we're going to do that. Okay. Another thing that's not working, 2 out of 3. Oh, you'll find this interesting. Handing off my social media has not been working for me so far. Okay. So I've shared before that I've been wanting to find some way to get support with social media. The big reason why, it's not that I don't enjoy it. Actually, it's my favorite part of my job, besides like the actual working with the women that I get to work with, is creating content. But the problem is if I have a busier day, or if I'm not feeling it or whatever, then things don't get posted, And I felt like things were just falling through the cracks. So my thought was like, okay, we could bring somebody on to help me with social media, to where like content's getting posted no matter what. And it's still my words. I still write it, but somebody's going to like have my back to post it and help me create the things. And my sister, Indy, she is in this transition in her job, and she just got out of the military, and she was looking for some sort of job. And gosh, if I could give my sister a job and we can work together, and that actually works, and we're not trying to kill each other, I would love nothing more. So we have been testing letting her run my social media, not run it, but assist me with it. And it's just not working. Now, I will say this. One thing that is working, I'll say it's not all not working, but one thing that is working is her creating reels for me. So I think this is something that we're going to continue doing, and we just haven't nailed the rest of the job description. So that's why I say it's not working yet. But one thing that she does really well is what we do is we have a shared folder, of content on each other's phones. So you can, on iPhone, you can create a shared folder. And you can both add things to the shared album. And we call it B-roll. So I put in like any glimpses of my day of me, like recording a podcast or working out or feeding Rhett, or, if we're traveling, any like short snippets and pretty photos and things like that will add to this B-roll folder. And then she will go in and take these snippets and, create reels. This honestly is a game changer, because I I don't have the patience for reels right now. I love to write the content. I don't necessarily love to like go and create the thing, the actual reel. So that is super helpful. And I would love to keep her on for that. And another thing that I think she's going to be awesome at, because she was so good when we traveled together for my speaking event. So I just spoke at an event in North Augusta, South Carolina, and she came with me to capture moments in video and things for social media. And she just gets it. She knows what I want captured. She needed very little prompting. She took initiative. She was really, really fantastic while there. And I think utilizing her like maybe a couple of times a month, going around Nashville and just doing fun things, and she can capture little snippets and we can use that for social, because it gets boring after a while, just stuff around my house, which is where I am most of the time. So that's going to be great. But like, we've tested out her posting things in my stories. I didn't love that. We've tested her getting in my DMs a little bit, and I was going to hand off to her some emails and things like that. But like, there are things that I'm not ready to relinquish control over, and things that I really enjoy doing. Like I will always write my own content. And it's like the bulk of her job description isn't working right now because of me. It's not because of her and what she does, but I've just realized, okay, that's not the thing I'm actually ready to let go of. But I wouldn't have known that without testing it. So I'm happy that we've tested it. So now we're trying to figure out how to continue to keep her on. So I just wanted to be clear, because I know that I shared that we're doing this together, me and my sister, and a lot of you were interested in hearing about how that's going, and it's going, but we still need to iron out some details. So there's that. The third and last thing that's not working is what I put on here: not following my gut and intuition. I have been second guessing myself a lot. And recently I just had a realization that we're all extremely intuitive, and we're getting messages and feelings that are wildly accurate all the time. But it's so easy to second guess ourselves and not take ourselves seriously. And I've just had a few instances lately that like I had a gut feeling on it, but I talked myself out of it, and I was like, no, it makes more sense. It's more realistic. It's whatever. And by the end, I'm like, damn, I really, really should have listened to that. And I wish I had an example for you. I do have one that I'm going to talk through, but it's newer. It's like, I can't be like, yeah, see, there was a good move. But I will get intuitive hits about people that are coming into my world that like DM me wanting to work with me. And there's been a few times where I'm like, no. Like, it's a clear no. And at certain points in your business, screw your intuition. You need the sale, right? Like the intuitive hit gets overrode by the fact that like bills need to be paid. And I can't tell you how many times that I've gotten like a feeling about somebody reaching out to me. It doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means that like we're not necessarily a good fit. And then we would work together and I would end up regretting it, or they would drain the hell out of me. I don't want to be insensitive, and I'm not going to give too many details here, because I'm thankful for every person that I've worked with. And truly, it's all for you, because you learn lessons about yourself. But there was this one person who wanted to work with me privately, and I was really excited because, it's a private client, and it's that in and of itself is exciting. And lovely person, but the whole time I'm like, something doesn't feel something doesn't feel right. And you can never put your finger on it. And it never makes sense. Your intuition is never something that you can explain logically. But I remember talking to Chris about it. And I was like, I don't know. And you never can articulate it. Never. You never can articulate it, can you? So I was like, maybe I don't know. I'm probably like overthinking it or whatever. And it ended up not being a great situation. And we ended up terminating our relationship, and nothing bad happened. It wasn't a good fit. And I don't do that. Like whenever we have a contract, but it was a situation where like I wanted out too. And that's just one example. And by the way, like, again, lovely person, nothing against her. I'm not saying nothing against her at all. It just, we were not a good fit. And looking back, my intuition was absolutely like glaring at me. And it's always quiet, but it was there. It was absolutely there. And I can reflect on that. I had a situation once where Chris and I were out together, just he and I. This was a couple years ago, and we ran into one of his work colleagues who is a male. And when I tell you, we talked to this man for 2 minutes, and Chris and I walked away, and I was like, does he cheat on his wife? And Chris looked at me and his jaw almost hit the floor. And he was like, why would you say that? Like, made me feel awful. Okay. I was expecting him to be like, well, funny you mentioned it because he is a bit of a dog. He was like, what made you say that? Where did that, and this is the difference between men and women, not saying that men don't have intuition, but ladies, this is a gift that we have for a reason. And he just like, dudes don't pick up on stuff like this in a lot of cases. And he just could not fathom. And then, of course, I was second guessing myself. I was like, shoot, I shouldn't have said that. I don't know this man. But y'all, when I tell you every single intuitive red flag alarm was going off when I was talking to this person. And in my gut, I was like, he's a dirty, dirty dog. Like, I just knew. Lovely guy, said nothing wrong, didn't look at me any weird way. It was nothing like that at all. But like, I knew like this, you're shady McSgrady. And I just freaking knew it immediately. Has anything ever happened since? No. Would I ever know? No, I don't know this person. But this is just very rarely have I met somebody where it hit me that hard and fast. And I was like, and I knew I think I knew what the reason was, but who knows? Another thing lately, here's something new, but you all know I'm a manifesting generator. And one of the things per our design that like we're here to surrender to and celebrate about ourselves is doing things differently and allowing ourselves to switch it up when we need to switch it up. There are some people who can do the same routine for years on end and be totally satisfied. It's like their thing. Most Manny Gens, or at least let me just speak for myself, no, I have to switch up everything. My routine, things that I do in my routine, things that I put out for content, for offers that like, I just have to, I can't do the same thing. And otherwise I just get really bored and it ends up taking my energy rather than giving it to me. Instead of it being expansive, like it maybe one day used to be in the beginning, it starts to feel constrictive. One thing lately that I've been getting this hit on is my workout routine. I've been feeling like my workout routine lately, it just wasn't lighting me up anymore. I wasn't looking forward to it anymore. I wasn't getting excited. I work with this woman who lives in our town. Her name is Allie, and she's absolutely incredible. And she's been training me now for 2 years. And I freaking love it because it's like, I don't have to think about it. 3 days a week she comes now. It used to be 2, now it's 3. And it's just one of these things where like I go out and I get it done and I feel so good after. And again, I don't have to think about it. But lately it wasn't lighting me up, and it wasn't anything that she was doing. She was writing these incredible, like everything was great. It was all internally. And the only way that I can describe it is like, it was just time to switch it up and to like a different modality or something. And I didn't want, because like realistically, it makes more sense just to keep working with her because I like her. We get along. She understands like my body and my goals. Everything makes sense. It's the most logical decision is to keep working with her. But in my gut, it's like, it's time to try something else. And every week, I've been feeling this way for a couple of weeks. And every week I'm like, denying myself to like bring this to the light and speak my truth and honor it. It felt like a part of me was like, I don't know. It's so hard to explain. It just felt wrong. It felt wrong. So finally, I just had to reach out to her and say, hey, I don't know why, but like, it's just time for me to switch it up. And she knows this because every week I'm like, can we try something different? Can we try something different? And she's always like switching it up for me because it's just who I am. So this wasn't a surprise to her. And she, come to find out, was like feeling it too. She was like, no, I totally get it. And what we've decided is we're going to part ways for a little bit. I'm going to maybe try, maybe like Burn Boot Camp or Orange Theory again. I don't know. Maybe Reformer Pilates. I don't know. I'm going to switch it up in some way. And then we're going to come back together, which feels great for both of us. And she's wanting to go more online anyway, so it's just like getting that out and bringing it to the table. It ended up working out. And we just had this conversation this week, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing, and I'll keep you posted on that. But it feels like as soon as I had that conversation, it just felt really good. Okay. These next 3 I'm going to get through really quickly. So these are the things that are to be determined, and I'm going to keep you posted because these are 3 things that I am testing right now, or that we're playing around with the idea of, but we just don't know. It's to be determined whether it's going to work or not. Number 1, copywriter. This is fun. So I hate sending emails. I hate it. It drives me freaking bonkers. I write my own content and I use the content for emails, but like the process of doing that makes me crazy. I've tried to hand it off before, but it wasn't right. And it's so crazy because the other day I was sending an email and I was like, oh my gosh. And the whole time I'm like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. It's a waste of my time. Somebody else should be doing this, blah, blah. And not an hour later, I got a DM or an email from a previous client that has worked in Vibes with me. And she's a copywriter. And she was like, Allie, I just felt like I needed to shoot my shot. Would you be open to talking about what it would look like to hire me as a copywriter to assist you with your emails? And my jaw was on the floor. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? It was the coolest thing. So I was like, not yes, but hell yes. So what we're doing is we're working together, and the process is really cool because she like helps me come up with the ideas for the emails, which can be very draining. She gets ideas for me from like the podcast and what I'm launching and, the vibe of conversation. She then creates outlines and, what she would guess would be like, my voice on certain things. And then I take those and I edit them. So I then make it my own voice. I quote Allie it up, I add in my own tips, my own ideas, but she gets like what I feel like is the exhausting part, which is like, okay, what do we talk about in this email? It can be so draining to have to figure out and get yourself to that point. She brings me the template and the bones, and then I add the meat to it and I add my personal touch. So it's still my voice, it's still me, but she's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And then she's also going to like then put it in Kajabi, and just these little things that don't take a lot of time. But when you add it up with other things that you're doing in your business that also doesn't take, quote, a lot of time, these things eventually add up to a bunch of time and energy that if you can hand off, there are other people that can do it. So we're testing that out. She started this week as I'm recording this, but I feel really good about it. And I'm very, very excited to have her on board. Okay, so there's that. The second thing that I am testing out, which I have talked about here and there, but I wanted to put it here because I'm still, the jury's still out on this. And that is I hired an energy healer. And the reason why is just because, this winter that I feel like I'm coming out of and the things that I went through last year, particularly around the loss of my mom and what I feel like is a lot of unfinished business, a lot of energy, I guess, that just needs an outlet, a lot of emotions that I've no doubt suppressed and, I need something. So I felt like, okay, I've tried different modalities of therapy. I've tried different things and my coach recommended me to this particular energy healer, and we've started to work together. And I've recently signed a contract with her for 6 months because I'm dedicated and I want to give this a good, fair shot. So again, jury's still out. I love her. She's fantastic. The problem per usual is me. I'm the drama. For me to sit down, that is just, it's tough. And to there are things that I've suppressed and I've put in a box deep down that I just don't, I'd much rather, if I had my way, I would never have to look at these things and I can just move on with life and be great. But that's just not really working out for me right now, unfortunately. So by me hiring her, it wasn't me outsourcing the healing. Well, if I'm being fully honest with you, it was. Initially, I was like, cool, I'll hire this person and she can do something on me, whatever she does, and hopefully just boom, I'm healed. But that's not a thing. So now I'm starting to realize okay, this is on me. I don't need this person to quote heal me. I don't need this person to quote heal myself, but if she can help guide me and make it maybe a little bit more enjoyable and easier and maybe a little bit faster than me navigating it on my own, which looks like me not doing anything at all, then great, I'm game, which is why I believe in all kinds of mentorship in all different industries and modalities. So we'll see. I will keep you posted on that as I continue. And this is why I committed to 6 months, because I knew that 1 month or, however many sessions wouldn't be enough. This is where I need to really, really commit myself. So we'll see. I pray after 6 months or 5 more months at this point that I don't come to you and I'm well, that was a big waste of money. That I'm deciding right now that's not going to be the case. So I'm excited to update you on that. And then the third thing that is TBD, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to share this, but you know what? Why not? This is where we're at. I've alluded to this here and there, and I've talked a little bit about it, but now there's a new level of seriousness happening here that is very exciting to me. And hey, maybe one of you or some of you listening have some ideas and have some experience, which is also why I'm deciding to share it now when this is very, very premature. But Chris is he's gonna be why are you sharing this? I get excited. Me and Chris, because the boys really don't have an opinion on it. We are very, very seriously considering selling our home and almost everything in it and traveling. And we're not going to be hardcore nomadic, living out of our car. I have very small children, that's not going to happen. I know people do it and can, but that's not how I roll. And Chris totally could, but we're having to like meet in the middle and see what that medium looks like. And what the medium looks like is us traveling for sure, by car, because small child and airplanes, that no. And plus we have dogs too. So we will be, I don't know if we get like a Sprinter van. I mean, like literally we have to figure everything out. This is so premature to even say, but YOLO. So maybe get like a Sprinter van and travel, and then like get Airbnbs at specific locations for periods of time. So not just days, but like maybe like a month or two at each location, because we both have, business and jobs, and like we need some normalcy. We can't like, I know I'd be miserable if we were constantly traveling every single day or every few days. That to me, that's absolutely not. But a month or two at each location, I can vibe with, I think, maybe, I don't know. And this is very much like, this has just been calling to us, is the best way to say it. We've always like jokingly played with the idea. And then at some point, the joke turned into more of a serious conversation, turned into, why aren't we doing this? Why not? Because we both work remotely. We can work from anywhere. Neither one of us have ever felt or held a lot of value in planning routes anywhere, at least yet, not in this stage of life anyway. We like where we live just fine, but we're not necessarily in love with it. So, and all of we would always have an excuse. Like before it was like, okay, well, my mom's sick, so we can't leave right now. And then his dad was sick, so we can't leave right now. And it's like, okay, we're realizing there's always going to be some reason to stay. But what do we want as a unit? And we're very seriously looking into this. And I have a very good friend who's a realtor who we've already talked to about what that could look like, and we'll see. So as of right now, the goal is we're just, stacking money and, not spending any more money on this damn house. That's for sure. And starting to do some research. And my goal in my heart is maybe like early next year, like January, we can make this a reality and actually like have the household and everything by then. And by then, Rhett will be a year. It'll be a little bit easier to move and do those things when he's just a little bit older. So we'll see. So, okay, I share that because anybody with experience who has done this, I would love to hear your experience. I'll have you on the show. I don't know. We'll talk. Let me know. Anybody who has Airbnbs, the way that we're playing around with this idea, because Chris and I have different ideas of what fun looks like. So I'm a big fan of like beautiful spaces, luxury. Like I want it to be a vibe. His idea of a vibe is like literally sleeping in a tent in a beautiful location in the woods. Okay. So we're going to have to compromise here. And one idea that we had is like, he gets to pick 5 locations and 5 places that we quote live for a while. And I get to pick 5 or whatever that number is going to be. Like I get to pick half, he gets to pick half. So anybody who has Airbnb or like some sort of situation, I don't know, we'll do like a sponsorship. I'm open to all of the ideas. So I'm just throwing it out to the universe. We're taking it very seriously. We're very excited about it. We just feel like there's no need to live life the way that we're living it right now. Like we're just doing what everybody else is doing because we thought that that's what you're supposed to do. And it's not lighting either one of us up. So we're looking for alternatives, and we're heeding that call. And I don't know what that's going to look like. So maybe it doesn't look like anything like I just said. We'll see. So that's why it's under the TBD category. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, that's all that I have for you today. 3 things that are working: having more fun, speaking my truth, and being okay with others doing the same, and following people that have different perspectives, being curious, allowing myself to be as ridiculous and unreasonable as possible. I feel like all of us could adopt those. I mean, honestly. 3 things that aren't working: not having some sort of morning routine or like activation ritual in my life, handing off my social media in the way that I thought I was going to, not following my gut and intuition and questioning that. And then to be determined, copywriting, energy healer, and selling everything and moving around the country and eventually the world. Hopefully that's the main goal. So that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed this. If so, let me know. Screenshot this, share this in your stories, share this with anybody that you think would find it helpful. And per usual, thank you for hanging out with me and listening. I love you. I will see you here on whenever the next episode is. Maybe it's Thursday if we have an interview. Otherwise, I'll see you just whenever I see you. Bye.